I want to address a very toxic lateral violent claim or statement that I've heard over the years towards Mexican people. And it needs to stop today. And that is that Mexicans are just claiming whatever. They are always trying to be Aztec. That is a shaming tactic. It is lateral violence. You have no right, you have no evidence, authority, you have no reason or suspicion to say that about someone and deny that they're indigenous. If you're not from a tribe or Mexican, you're not Native American. You're an immigrant. You're a foreigner. Remember, the United States was founded by illegal immigrants. If you have a problem with brown indigenous people from Latin America migrating into the United States, go back home to Europe, Africa, or Asia, because we aren't forcing anybody to be here on our ancestral land. Go back home, Africa. This trend that has been happening for years has to stop, and I don't understand why anyone hasn't, other than myself, called it out. Let's get into it. You do not know our experience. Don't speak on Mexican people's journey to re-indigenizing and reclaiming their ancestors. Period. It's not your place. Who do you think you are?
So, sensitive subject. Disclaimer. Do we think that Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, whatever, Black people should partake in advocating for Hispanics against ICE? There are marches. I see the LA riots. I don't want to call it the LA riots, but I mean, whatever situation is happening in LA, I'm sure it's going to make its way to the Northeast coast soon, which is where I am. I want to know, is this our fight? And I just honestly want to know, like, black people from 18 to 35. Is this our fight? I mean, from 18 to 65, really. Is this our fight? I mean, has anyone ever, from age 19 to 23, I worked in the New York City restaurant industry as a black girl with Hispanic people. And is this our fight? I mean, I don't think any of them ever knew my name. I was literally just Morena or Bizcochos. And the way they essay you and grab on your booty and all types of stuff and try to touch your boobs and all crazy stuff. And then they look at you as like easy hookup or a liability. But I get it. I get that they don't like working with black women because the way we behave, and they probably dealt with some ratchet black American girls, so that probably, so I get why they don't like us or whatever. But is this our fight? Maybe all of that didn't need to be said, but is this our fight though? I see a lot of black women advocating for Hispanic people. To each his own. But is this our fight?
I have a lot of people in the comments talking about, why are you just talking about African Americans? Why are you just asking for our support? Why are you not asking white people? Why are you not asking Asian people? If it's not clear by now, they have never been part of the fight. And that's not to come for you guys, but the majority is not the minority, right? Black and brown are the minority in this country. We have had a lot more issues than any other race in this country. So, by default, you would kind of think we would stand together, having a history of so much oppression. And, I'm not trying to discredit anybody else, but we have both been through a lot. This is not even a topic of conversation. Once y'all get over the fact that it's not a race thing, because there's only one race, and that is the human race. And if you guys want to continue to put us in separate teams, then we are never going to fix the problem.
You guys put yourselves in a separate race from us. Hispanics, Latinos have always made it clear that they are not the blacks. Me no black, me no black, me no black. What about Native Americans? The so-called Native Americans? Y'all actually look a lot alike, to be quite honest. How come you ain't calling on them?
You are the Indigi cops? You're the Indigi police? Back off. It's none of your concern. It's none of your business. Wait till we come to your tribe knocking on your door to speak to us, because until then, you have no business. Until we come to you, until we find you. Unless you know something we don't know, then come tell us. Say, hey, you're part of our tribe, and this is how we do it. Come with us. Until then, none of you know what it's like to be Mexican if you're not Mexican. You don't know what we're doing to re-indigenize. You don't know any of it. You are from a tribe. We don't pretend to know what it's like to be in a tribe, so you should not pretend to know what it's like to be, although we do have so much similarities.
Communities have always been like this, and we should continue staying like that. There's no reason why the two communities should be fighting, okay? We have fought next to each other, side by side, since the civil rights movement, okay? There's no time for beef on either side. We need to stand together, especially with everything that's going on right now in this country. So just a reminder that the Latino community and the Black community are like this always.
So good morning. LA is a mess right now. I have a question for my African American brothers. So when the Floyd incident happened and the protests, a lot of Hispanics were right there next to y'all at the demonstrations, at the riots. Now I see the ICE raids, and I look around and I ask myself, where my brothers at? What happened? Where's the unity? Just, something to think about, something to look at. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Have unlimited resources
I think
in
a
this
lot of
country
Americans.
to take care of other
There's
people.
a hell of a lot of people other than the black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
From a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against our
That's
will.
exactly what I
They
just said.
decided
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot
across
of
the
people
border. There's a
other
big
than the
difference.
black
There is
people.
a big
That's
difference.
exactly what
There's
I
a
just
big
said.
difference.
That's
Anna.
exactly what I just said, Sir Michael.
and
Look and act indignant. That's
Okay.
exactly what
It's
I
not
just
about
said.
acting indignant.
Yes, it is.
let me
You just heard me
share
say
Michael.
that's other than the black
Anna
people
and
who
share
came
Michael,
as
please.
slaves.
High
There
ground
are
here.
a lot of people from
Share
many,
Michael. I think
many
you
countries
actually
that came
misheard
here
what
illegally.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard it.
She said.
I purposely
Yes, he
misheard.
did.
So now you're in my
Share
brain?
Michael, listen to me for
Is
just a second.
Is that where we're going?
You
Share
think
Michael,
I would
listen to me
say
for a
I
second.
will have advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life and
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black
Anna,
people,
please
great,
stop.
congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black, you're not.
Okay, Share Michael.
That's right. I'm Latino, and my people are being racially
It is-
profiled.
it is-
and
And do I have to
unfairly
remind you the history of my people?
Sure,
Do
but
you
I
want
have
to
to
go there?
know. I
Do you
don't-
really
okay,
want to go
we're
there?
gonna
and
go
know
break.
how
know the
grown?
history
Raul,
of your
we're gonna-
During the BLM protests in Chicago, who did the Latinos help? So Latinos was targeting black Americans in Chicago, throwing rocks at their cars, setting their cars on fire. You see this? They didn't help the black Americans. They were helping the police. They were helping the police. And their argument would be like, well, the black people was looting and rioting, so was the Latinos. But they targeted black people that had nothing to do with the protests at all. Just riding through those neighborhoods or those areas. You have people on social media sending out videos. Black people, stay out of Cicero. Black people, be careful in Little Village. And mind you, ultimately, this was a protest against police brutality. And while all this was going on, Latinos are unalived at a 6 times higher rate than their white counterparts. And they still decide to side with the police. And not even a year later, Adam Toledo, a Latino kid, one of their very own, in Little Village, was unalived by the police with his hands up. Hispanics practice Jim Crow against black Americans in Houston. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. At Houston Community College, right? The Chandler Caesar, he's a Hispanic man. He got together with the director of HR and the board of trustees. And they came up with this plan to get rid of black employees at high positions. They did anything from putting false complaints in their folders so they could get demoted or get fired. And then they replaced these black employees with Hispanics. Hispanics went up. The hiring for Hispanics went up 50%. These three individuals orchestrated the plan. And this is what they stated in their emails. Now, we Hispanics are going to receive preferential treatment. This plan was successful, targeting black top employees. Now they got a class action suit against Houston Community College for $100 million. They have to come up with some type of settlement by 2026. But yeah, let Houston tell it. They'll tell you like brown and black unity.
To get this straight. So the short one directly up there wanted to specifically tell everybody that, oh, you guys are all immigrants, right? You guys aren't natural to this land, yada, 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 all this other type of good stuff. And she specifically wanted to say to black people, you can go back to Africa if you got a problem and all that. That's some crazy work, because I'm like, when was the last time that y'all really ever forced Europeans back to Europe? You never did. And even if you could, you would never win that battle, which is exactly why you sold your land, right? The land of which you said that white people stole from you, you also sold that land. You gave it up for, milk, cookies, whatever it was. You decided to give that, directly up. And it's crazy to try to tell black Americans that they are not indigenous to these lands when you got a variety of books out here that inform and tell people that the people that they found here were not like the quote unquote Native Americans that you normally see. How their hair was different, their skin complexion was different. Again, they weren't talking about you. They weren't talking about the Mexicans. They were not talking about y'all. But for whatever reason, people want to muddy the waters because they have some darker complected people there, and they want to just summarize and just put everything as everything, right? Even though these are the same exact group who do not respect, who do not value, who do not uplift the darker complected individuals amongst their own community. And then on top of that, amongst those videos, you got others directly in there, but black community, why is it that you guys don't pull up to the protests and do this and that? We're all in it, and this all has to do with us, and yada yada yada. No, it doesn't at all, because the last two videos that I placed up there fully showcase exactly what I have been saying in its total. And again, that was just two videos two videos of this guy here clearly explaining how the Latins, Mexicans, whoever it is, anybody that speaks Spanish, how it is that they specifically see black people. Explain that one to me. Explain to me how it is that you could have qualified, educated black people in the school system, and you're like, you know what? I don't really like the look of this. Oompa doompa whoopa dee doo. And you decide that you want to make falsified claims against these educated black people who earn the right to be in that space, to have that seat. And you're like, nah, I don't want y'all here. I'm going to put my own people here. Huh? And this is what I've been saying. This is the same problem that a lot of black people are having in a lot of these areas where these individuals are at heavily. This is why a lot of black Americans cannot seem to get jobs in their own cities, because you have this type of thing going on where they're like, I don't really like them here. Maybe they can work, whatnot, whatever, but I'm going to sit up there and slide in my cousin. I'm going to slide my brother directly in here. I'm going to slide my sister in here, my great grandmother. Like, they'll do all of this other type of stuff. Like, it's crazy. And this is what black people talk about when we mention how it is that we get pushed out of a lot of jobs. It's not because we're lazy. It's not because we don't want to work. It's not because we're not qualified. It's not because we're not educated. It's not because we're not seeking the jobs. It's because you have these people doing everything that they can, hook and crook, lying and putting everything negative under the sun directly on black people to try to say that they're unqualified. So this is why, looking at this, I cannot ever at a point in time believe anything that they say whenever like, oh, it's just because black people are lazy. No, it's because black people don't cheat. We do everything. We do our best to do everything by the book, because that's all that we can do. That's all we've been forced to do. And we can't sit up there and really take an inch or budge directly outside of those boundary lines, because if we do, guess what? We're caught up. Shout out to Usher. Caught up. Because that's it. That is all that needs to be done. Case in point, look at some of those who tried to go a little bit outside of those bounds and tried to play the game in the exact type of way that white people played it. They got caught up. They got hemmed up. They got prison time. Like I said, we can't afford to play the exact same games as everybody else. We can't. Just imagine if black people did that exact same thing where it's like, oh, we don't like, you know, the faces directly around here, so we're going to push all of the other people out to make sure only black people can come in. Do you know how quickly black people would get called out? Do you know how quickly people would shut down that business or corporate or whatnot would come directly through there with a broom, a dustpan, and a vacuum cleaner and an HVAC? Do you know how quickly they would sweep the scenes? But like I said before, when it deals with other individuals that have the complexion for the protection, that feel as though that they belong to white society, to the Caucasoids, to the Caucasians, when they feel like they belong directly to them, this is the type of treatment that they get. They can do anything it is that they want to sit up there and do, and they can be as racist and as bigoted as they want to sit up there and be. And at the end of the day, when everything goes wrong, when they decide that they want to sit up there and vote against their own best interest, vote against themselves, vote against their family, vote against their kids, vote against their women, you know who's at fault for this? Black people. Color me surprised. And this is the same group who don't even like black people turn around and blame black people, and then turn around after that and tell black people that y'all need to help because, hey, we were there during the protest and all this other type of stuff. But color me surprised when the content creator also brought up the fact that, hey, it was Latins, Mexicans who were, you know, throwing rocks and whatnot or whatever at Black Lives Matter protesters. Color me surprised. You guys sided with the cops, the same exact people who ended up, you know, undoing one of the kids in your communities. But just imagine that. If you didn't do that, black people would have been there to more than likely protest for that young man there. But guess what? We're not going to be at any of those protests. We're not. You'll have the some rare odd few because, you know, you got some areas, California, Texas, whatnot, whatever, where, you know, y'all commingle and all this. But in general, the rest of the black community, we are not doing it. Because we've seen time and time again how disrespectful you guys are, the same way as your fathers are, white folks. The same way that they were disrespectful to black people during this election, the same way that y'all were disrespectful, because you're going to follow whatever your parents do, is the exact same way that y'all act when it deals with our protests, when we're trying to talk about the injustice. We're using our bodies, blood, sweat, and tears. We're using our loved ones that we are losing out here in these streets to talk about and bring this issue to the forefront so that it's not just fixed for the black community, but it's fixed to everybody. But y'all are too dumb and senile to actually understand that. So instead of actually coming together like you guys always like to say, oh, we got unity, we need to come together, we've been together like this, y'all liars. You guys are liars just like your fathers. You're doing the exact same thing. And you say that you hate your father, but your father hates us. So you know what you're going to sit up there and do with the lesser of the two evils. And even though that your father does not like you, he hates you, he doesn't really want to be near you, he might give you a little bit of something, you're like, well, that's better, you know, being with him, because we still want the love, and we still want the admiration, we still want everything to do with him, even though, you know, we're mentally really not alike, so we hate the blacks too. Wow. So you're doing anything to match up with him just so that you can get the love that you just so much desire. So much for that unity, huh? So much for that love and support that y'all said during those protests, huh? So much for y'all sitting up there saying, oh, we abolished slavery and whatnot or whatever. Mind you, you had over 200K slaves, black slaves down there, huh? Crazy work. And the people who almost eradicated your indigenous people were who again? Because it wasn't the blacks, right? It wasn't the blacks that you sold your land to, that you gave it over to, that you relinquished. It wasn't us. It wasn't the blacks who sat up there and, you know, undid one of the kids in your community by way of police brutality. It wasn't us. But like I said before, at the end of the day, you got to blame somebody, because we know that you're not going to blame your father. You're not going to do that. So you're going to blame the next best thing. You're going to do the exact same thing that he taught you and that he taught everybody else to do, which is to blame us. Crazy. Wow. Color me surprised. Well, I'm sorry. You guys don't really have color because you believe in, white washing. What was it? something La Raza, whatever sayings that y'all got, which means to whiten society, the betterment of your race, right? Which is to basically have somebody who is brown or dark be with or procreate with somebody who is lighter in order to, thin out the color, in order to lighten it. But like I said, we're supposed to be unified, and you can't even be unified within your own indigenous people, and you're trying to whitewash and pretty much wipe them out of existence while saying that you got so much pride for who it is that you are because you're mixed race and mixed culture and all this other. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you got the nerve. Y'all got the nerve, the audacity, the gall to open your mouths on Twitter, on the internet, and to try to come at Black Americans sideways out the side of y'all necks. And y'all wonder why it is every single day we standing 10 toes down saying that we are not helping you, and we mean exactly what it is that we sit up there and say, and we don't care if y'all never come to our defense or help us or try to shield. We don't need you. I'm going to blatantly tell you that 100% right now. We don't need you. We didn't have you during Jim Crow. We didn't have y'all during slavery. We surely did not. Like I said, all the revolts that were going on in the United States that they don't like to talk about and tell about, where were y'all at? Color me surprised. Where were y'all at? Oh, that's right. Mind y'all business. Do whatever it is that y'all normally do because y'all didn't really have to worry about nothing. Just like when we had the civil rights and segregation, right? Y'all were up there bussing with the white folks on the same seats, in the same classrooms, using the same water fountains, same restaurants, right? Because there was no such thing as a Mexican or a Spanish water fountain. There was only white and black. But like I said, we always had unity, right? We were always side by side, peanut butter and jelly, two sides of the same coin, as y'all always like to sit up there and say. It's funny how magically we're brothers and sisters when you need us. But when you didn't need us, case in point, during, the Biden and Harris administration, y'all wasn't saying nothing. Y'all was clicked up. Y'all was all family on one side of the field. Color me surprised. Wow. Y'all weren't looking for black people then. But now, since you got a regime in here, now because you got the Republican Party, of which you enabled, of which your people voted for, now we got to, put things to the side. Now we got to put our emotions to the side. We got to really look at the situation as it is. And we got to, really look at it as this is coming, against the democracy, the rights of the. You did this. I didn't. I tried to warn you. You didn't want to listen. So here we are. Remember, you said that you will vote for Donald Trump. Remember, you said Mexicans and Latins for Trump. You said Cubans for Trump. Yeah. Go and talk to your people about that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything that I stated in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.